everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna, and today I want to talk to you about everything that I knit in 2024. That's what we're going to talk about today. There's a good mix of, I felt like this year I knit much less than I have in previous years, but actually looking at the stats, I knit the same amount of items as I knit in 2023, but I knit way fewer garments for myself this year and a lot more for my daughter, who was born in 2024. And so instead of normally when I do these videos, I've done them for a couple years now, I do them just chronologically in order of projects. But for the sake of this video, I think I'm going to do the items that I knit for myself in the first half of the video, and then the items that I knit for my daughter in the second half of the video. So if you're not interested in baby knits, you can skip that part completely. And if you are only interested in baby knits, you can skip to that part. So I hope that works for you. So here are some stats about the projects that I knit this year. I love to do this. I think it's really interesting to see like what designers I was knitting and how many items I knit and things like that. So that is going to be included here.
All right, so welcome to my little 2024 knitting wrapped section where I talk about a few little stats about what I worked on this year. So in total, I actually made 26 projects. I misspoke earlier in the video. There were a couple that I hadn't cataloged in my Ravelry, which is where I keep track of all my projects. But I finished 26 projects in 2024, so actually 2 more than 2023. I made 3 sweaters for myself, 1 summer top and 1 vest, and then I made 17 baby knits, which includes sweaters, vests, and accessories, and then 4 accessories for myself. So the baby knits category includes like all kinds of baby knits, but 17 of the projects I did this year were baby knits, which is well over half. The most knit designers that I did this year, there was a lot more variety than in past years. So I did 7 petite knit projects. A couple of them were repeats, but I did 1 sweater, 1 accessory, and then 5 of my baby knits were petite knit patterns. I did 3 Pearl Soho patterns, 2 hats, and 1 baby pattern, and 2 My Favorite Things patterns, 1 sweater and 1 summer top. Those were both for me, so almost half of the things that I made for myself, almost half of the garments I made for myself were My Favorite Things patterns. And then just some last kind of fun little tidbits that I like to think about is that 4 of my 26 projects were gift knits. 3 of my projects were knit using my handspun yarn, which is really exciting because this was the first year where I was actually spinning for a whole year. And then I made patterns from 17 different designers, which is a really good variety, I think, for how many projects that I made.
Okay, so yes, that is it for my little roundup stats, my little knitting wrapped. And now we'll just get into the projects. I feel like we had some real winners this year and then some others that I'm unsure about. So we'll start with the first project that I finished for myself. And by the way, I'm going to talk about the items and then I will put video footage of me wearing them here so that you can get a better idea of how they fit and move and like work with my body in a more functional way. So the first project that I finished was the Ozetta Miles shirt jacket. There we go. And I knit this in Manchalopes, which is the called for yarn. It is an unspun Spanish wool that I bought not too long before casting it on. And I like this project. I think it was good for the time that I knit it. I knit it kind of towards the end of my pregnancy and like first early days postpartum. And it was really useful at that time because I had my baby in the spring. And so it was like transitional weather. And this was really nice to just like throw on when it was cooler in the mornings when we were going for a walk. But I will say that I haven't worn this as much as I expected to. To be fair, I still have not put buttons on it. Not that I think I would button this up, but that might help me feel like this is actually really finished, but I don't think I would ever button it up. So I'm not like in a super rush to put buttons on it. If I get around to it, great. If I don't, I don't. Yeah, I think I knit this in the size large. I almost wish I had sized down. I think I was kind of between gauge sizes. I was like a stitch off on the gauge, so I went up a size, and I think I kind of wish I had just done the regular size. I used almost 4 full plates of Manchalopes for this, and the pattern actually called for 5, so I had like an entire plate left over. So just if you're interested, it uses way less yarn than it calls for, especially because the pockets, you do a swatch as one of the pockets. Speaking of which, you probably will not notice, but my pockets don't match. I think I wasn't paying attention when I did one. the first one, and then when I did the pocket swatch, and then when I went back to knit the second one, it was the last thing that I did, and I didn't realize that they had the size medium, the size large, I think, had different stitch counts on the pockets, and so one of the pockets is slightly larger than the other, but it's not like, you can't even tell here, but it's not noticeable. Yeah, I think I enjoyed it. In general, I enjoyed making this pattern. It wasn't very painful, even though it was like back and forth stockinette. So there was a lot of purling, and it's really long, but I thought the curved hems were really fun, and I really like the shoulder detail. I'm actually knitting another cardigan right now that has a very similar shoulder detail. Like overall, I really do think this is a nice piece. Hi, it's Editing Anna here from the future. I guess when I was filming this section, my battery died on my camera, and I didn't realize until I had talked for a little bit, but so it's like there's a weird jump in the footage here, but basically what I was saying when my camera died is that the fabric has pilled a lot. The Mantelopes yarn, I think because it's not at such a loose gauge, it's pilled quite a lot, even though I don't feel like it's really had a ton of wear. More than I guess pilled more than I expected with the amount of wear that it's had. And also I blocked the length on this quite aggressively, and I think that I overblocked the front, so it was a little bit longer than the back. So it really just needs to be blocked again so it can kind of even out, and maybe I just need a depill to get some of those pills off, but that's what I was saying here. That will lead us into this next clip now. So all in all, if I had to like give that one a grade, I would give it like a B in terms of, I mean, I like the pattern, I like the yarn, but it has pilled quite a lot, and I haven't worn it as much as I thought I would. So it's like, it's good, but it's not great. My next finished object is another one that is not great, but that is because that is my fault. So this is the Amy Slipover by Senda Skarn, which is a beautiful pattern that I love. I've made one before. I made one in 2022. I love that one. I wear it a lot. But there are some fit things that I wanted to change about that. So that was the purpose of the second one. This is knit in Hillesvåg Ask, which is a really beautiful Norwegian yarn. I got 2 skeins of this like sport weight yarn at the Hillesvåg mill in Norway for this color that didn't have a name on it. I think it was probably like a trial color or like something they weren't going to carry anymore. I don't know what the color is. So I only had the 2 skeins, which was about 650, 700 meters, which is not a lot of yarn. And so I was like, oh, I'll just make an Amy Slipover out of it. Which I did, and I like it, but it's not perfect. So I like there's things about that I really like. I changed the neck shaping quite a lot, and I really like how that fits. And I added quite a bit of length, but I'm still not sold on the ties. So I did not have enough yarn to do the whole pickup long tie thing that is on the original Amy Slipover. You do these really long 2x2 rib ties, and I think they're beautiful, but I did not have enough yarn for that. So I thought, oh, maybe I'll do these kind of like garter stitch ties. I tried I-cords, those also didn't look right. So I have these little garter stitch ties. I still also think they're just too thin, a little bit too delicate. So I have still a little bit of yarn, and I'm not sure if I want to make thicker garter stitch ties. Basically, my thinking was that the width of the garter stitch tie is the same width as these garter stitch details on the side. So that's why I kept it like this. I still just think they look a little bit thin. I think another issue is that I'm not sure that I love where the increases start and the sleeve separation. I think because this is open at the side, I almost wish it was a little bit lower or higher, one of the above. It's not in the right place. So I'm still trying to decide what I want to do about this. I like this a lot. I love the color. I love the yarn. I want to wear it. I'm not sure if I need to fix the ties. I'm not sure if I need to like sew this together. That's another option that I've thought of, is not doing ties at all, but kind of joining for the body just for a few rows, maybe until the ribbing. And so it's joined on the side like a normal slipover, but then has a split hem. But I think if I were to do that, I would need to rip this all back and probably not have this detail in the middle. Although it could be kind of nice if it carried down. So theoretically, I could just kind of mattress stitch that together. That could be cute. I don't know. There's just something about this that's still not perfect to me. I don't know if I added too much length. So I think I just need to make some more adjustments to this. This is next on my list to be fixed, basically. I think probably in March or April, when maybe even in February. I'm going to go back and try and figure out how to make this better because I love it. I love the yarn. I was saving it for so long because it's such a beautiful and special yarn. It's rustic, but not too rustic. It's like, I don't know. I really like this yarn. I would love to use it again. And I didn't want to use it in color work and blah, blah, blah. So I think this is the right project for it. I just think there's a few things about this that I need to change to make it perfect. So that's why I don't think I've even worn this once. You can tell that the strings on the one side are longer than the others because I steam blocked these to be longer and I never did that on this side. So maybe I just need to do that and it'll be fine. But I love it. I love it in theory. In practice, it needs some more help. So yeah, I think I just need to revisit this and make some more like really well thought out tweaks and it'll be great. So that's my Amy slipover. I want to love this more. I need to do some more work to make it better. But if I can figure out how to make it perfect, I would love to do another one with the modified shaping. I just think it fits a lot nicer. And maybe I would do it with a high neck again, like the original pattern, but I don't know. I love it, but I don't love it, you know? It's like, I love it. It's beautiful. I love to look at it, but I have not found the right application to wear it yet. So I need to make it better so that I can do that. This isn't one that I want to completely frog. The yarn is good in this application. It just needs a few more changes to be perfect. So that's my second finished object. My third finished object for me is the sweater number 14 V-neck by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I made this in the medium, so the second size, and I used Cascade Aereo, which is a blown yarn wool alpaca blend. I really like this sweater. It's very floppy, very drapey, very cozy. I knit this in the summertime, and I actually think that was the perfect time of year to wear this because where I live in Seattle, it's like cooler in the mornings, cooler in the afternoons, or I work in an office building. And so I could wear this to work in the summer with like a tank underneath, and it looked nice. And my office is pretty casual, but it looked nice under, as that, but then I could take it off if I wanted to go outside for a walk or lunch or whatever and feel still comfortable. It's very airy. It's a very loose gauge. I think we're at a 16 stitch gauge. And I do really like it. The only thing is that this yarn is quite pilly. It's a blown yarn, so that's to be expected. But I'm not sure that you can tell, but it does look a little scruffy, which is what I was worried about when I bought this yarn. But I love the color. This is discontinued, so you can't get it anymore. But yeah, it's very pilly and I don't know, the pills don't come off very easily. So that's the one thing I don't love about this. I also, I tapered the sleeves on this, not super aggressively, but I just have learned about myself that I don't love a super wide sleeve. So I did taper the sleeves a little bit. How many decreases did I do? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only decreased out about 12 stitches, but at this gauge, that's 3 inches of sleeve that I tapered out. The one thing is that I think the sleeves are just a touch too long for me for how cozy and oversized this is. I think it's nice, but I often find myself rolling them up, which I think is fine because this is a 2x2 rib, so it looks good on both sides. And I can wear it long if I want to, and I can wear them short if I want to. They're just because I'm often chasing after my baby or whatever, it's nice to have them rolled up a little bit, but, it doesn't bother me enough that I would go back and shorten the sleeve. So yeah, that's my sweater number 14 V-neck. It's very, very oversized. I think this is on the edge of too oversized. I don't think I want a sweater this oversized again. Do you see? I'll show you in the clip. You could fit another one of me in here. So I think I probably could have gotten away perfectly fine with the smaller size of this pattern. There's only 3 sizes. It's not the best, most size inclusive pattern. If you're looking for a very similar pattern that's a little more size inclusive, the Harlow V-neck, I think it's the Harlow by Kadri, is very similar, but it's just at a different gauge. So yes, that's my sweater number 14. This is probably my fave. Well, this was a success. I've worn this quite a lot. It's very comfy. It's very cozy. It's very easy to put on. And I will continue to wear this. I just need to figure out a better way to get the pills off. So yes, that is my third finished object. A lot of brown this year, which isn't surprising. It's I just really like brown. Okay, my next finished object is my one and only summer knit for the year. This is another My Favorite Things pattern. It's the tank number 7, camisole number 7, camisole number 8, camisole number 9, something like that. It's my favorite things knitwear, Camisole. This is knit in Drops Paris, which is like a worsted weight cotton. It used to be something else. I frogged it to make this, which I think was good because I never wore the t-shirt that it was before. And I do really like this. The yarn is also a little bit pilly. It gets that kind of like, I don't know, there's something about cotton yarns when they get these like tiny little almost micro pills. It just makes the fabric start to look a little worn. But I don't think you can tell. I do really like this top. I wore it a fair amount. I think when I first knit it, I wasn't in love with how deep the armholes are, but I was also wearing nursing bras all the time at that point, and they do come up quite high in the armpit. Now that I'm wearing normal bras a lot more often, I think it's okay, but if I were to knit this again, I would raise the armholes, like start the armhole increases like an inch earlier, just to make that not be a problem. You could wear whatever you wanted underneath and not have it show. So this is a very simple construction. It's a boat neck, which I really like. I think it's very cute. It's very easy to knit. It was very fast. I think this is an 18 stitch gauge, so it went really quick. And it's nice for the summer. It's a heavier summer garment, but because where I live, it's not super cold or super warm in the summer. It was great, and I do like this, and I would make another one. So I think it's also really easy because you don't have to pick up for any of the edges. Like, it's a very fast knit. I think I knit this in maybe like a week and a half or 2 weeks. So I really like it. I would make another one, and I would recommend the pattern. There are lots of patterns that are similar to this. I think Petite Knit has one. There are some more indie designers that have similar patterns to this. So if you are looking for more smaller designers to support, this is a very, very popular design style. So I really like it though. And my favorite things knitwear, like Petite Knit, they have like a similar style of writing, and you can kind of, I don't know, it's just that you know what you're going to get, kind of a thing, which I feel like many of us feel with the Scandies. So that's that on that. Okay, my last garment that I knit this year is probably my favorite. This is the Cloud Sweater by Petite Knit, and I say that like with a grain of salt, because when I first knit this pattern, I was using the Cloud Blouse pattern because my gauge swatch showed that I had the gauge of the Cloud Blouse, which I think is 20 stitches per inch. And then when I started knitting, it actually turned out that I had the gauge for the Cloud Sweater. So I just used the Cloud Blouse pattern because I had already purchased it. But this is essentially the Cloud Sweater. And I'm sure there are some differences between the two patterns besides the gauge, but it's the Cloud. I don't think it matters which pattern you buy. I knit mine in 2 strands of Nutidin yarn, which is just so beautiful. I really enjoyed knitting with this yarn. I love the color so much. It's the most gorgeous sunny mac and cheesy yellow. I think it's so pretty, and I'm really happy with it. I have a whole plate of it left, and I need to figure out what I want to do with it. I think I'll probably knit a sweater for my daughter in it so that we can coordinate, but I really, really like it. I did modify the ribbings. So I modified all of the ribbings to be just a little bit longer before you do the rolled hem. And then for the collar, I picked up maybe like 25 or 30 fewer stitches. I may have a note on my Ravelry page about how many stitches I picked up for the neck, or how many fewer stitches I picked up for the neck than called for. And I knit, this is probably about 2 inches of ribbing, and then did the stockinette collar. So it's more of a mock neck, and I really like how that sits on me. I think it's so cute and very like 90s J. Crew, LL Bean kind of style, which I really like. I love the little stockinette or the little garter, like these pearl bump details on the sleeves and on the shoulders. That's not something that I feel like we really saw before this pattern, which is like, it's not super innovative, but that's the thing I like about Petite Knit, is that she just does simple things but with really clever details. I don't need to tell everyone why Petite Knit's patterns are good. That's why we all knit them. I feel like you'd be hard pressed to find a prolific knitter who hasn't knit at least one Petite Knit pattern in every year, because she just does good at her job. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot more to say about this. I really like it. I think the size that I ended up with was between, I'd have to measure this, but I think it has about 116 centimeters circumference, which is like the sweet spot for me. It's like about, what's that, like 25 centimeters of positive ease, which I really like. So that I really like this sweater. I haven't worn it a ton just because right now I am rounding out my maternity leave, so I'm spending a lot of time at home, like picking up the baby and like moving. So I'm wearing clothes that are a little bit more practical. I'm either like wearing sweatpants and sweatshirts a lot of the time, or yeah, I don't know. I'm just like moving around a lot. And so I'm getting quite warm. And so I'm not wearing my woolly wools as much. But once I go back to work and I'm like sitting at a desk and not doing anything all day, I think I'll be wearing my sweaters a lot more. So yeah, I love it. I think it's a beautiful color, beautiful design. I would definitely make another cloud sweater, especially in this style with the modified neck. I really, really like it. I'm really happy with how this turned out. So yes. So that is it for garments for me. 5 garments. It's like the fewest amount of sweaters I've knit in a year in a really long time. And I do have 3 little accessories that I knit for myself as well. So the first one is a Sophie scarf. This is a Sophie scarf that I knit in my own hand spun yarn. It's 100% alpaca. I bought the yarn at Fiber Fusion Northwest, which is a little farmy yarn and fiber festival in Washington in usually the first weekend of June. And the fiber is from ZZ Alpacas, which is, they're always there. I haven't seen them anywhere else and they don't really sell online, but it's a really nice man. He has an alpaca farm. And so I bought 2 ounces of this yarn of the fiber, and I spun it up and made it into a 2-ply, and it turned out kind of like a fingering to sport weight. And so I knit a Sophie scarf. I just basically knit, I did the stitch counts for the smaller size, but I did a really long section in the middle with no increases because I wanted this to be as long as possible, but not super wide. And then I did the decreases on the other side, and I used almost all of the yarn that I made. I have like maybe 2 grams of yarn left. I will say I haven't worn this out of the house. The one that I still feel like it's kind of wide. I wish it was maybe that wide and a little bit longer. That's the one thing I have a problem with the Sophie scarf, is I feel like because of how wide it is, I feel like the knot is a little bit chunky. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to style this. And this is not like the smoothest of smooth alpaca. It's beautiful, but it does prickle a little bit. And I'm not usually very sensitive, but I am more sensitive to alpaca and mohair, like kind of around my neck and on my head, which is why I don't usually use it in hats. So yeah, I think I just need to, I might block it again, honestly, and just stretch it really, really skinny, which the I-cord edges make a little bit difficult, but I could maybe get it a little bit more narrow and a little bit longer. That might make it a little bit more wearable for me. I just feel like, so normally how I would want to wear this would be like this, like tied up like this. And I just feel like, I don't know, it looks a little silly. Maybe I'm just being sensitive and it's cute, but it also might be the color is not great for me. Maybe I need to dye it. I don't know. It's cute. It just feels a little like a lot. So, yeah, not my maybe most practical, but I didn't know what else to do with this yarn, and it was my first project that I ever knit with my own hand spun yarn. So it's special in that way. And I do think it's cute. So yeah, there is my little hand spun Sophie. The next thing I knit is this self-drafted hat pattern, which is a top-down double thick brim hat that I also knit with my own hand spun and drafted the pattern. So I am planning to write up a pattern for this probably in the next couple months and make another sample or 2, but I really like it. It is, yeah, top down so that you can use up all the yarn that you have, a double thick brim that is sewn down at the end, and I really like it. I think this is the first yarn. So this is the first project I ever knit with hand spun yarn, but this is the first yarn I ever spun. And it's definitely not perfect. It's got a lot of biasing in it, but it's very special and I really like the product. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. And I like this hat a lot. It's very cozy and comfy and cute. So yes, that's my little hat. And then the last thing that I made for myself were these Verona mittens. This is a free pattern from Svarta Ferret, which is a Swedish yarn brand. And the pattern is in Swedish, German, and Dutch, but I did put an English translation of the pattern instructions on my Ravelry page. So if you're interested in making these, you can go to that to find them. It's a one size pattern, 2x2 rib, all over mittens with you use a smaller needle size for the cuff, so it's a little bit tighter, and then go up to a larger one for the hand of the mitten. You can kind of see when I stretch it how the body part wants to stretch a lot further than the body. The hand wants to stretch a lot further than the cuff. Not much to say about these. I knit them in Cascade 220 superwash. I kind of wish I'd used a non-superwash yarn, but I might make another pair. But they're just easy to clean that way. They're really cute. They're really easy. I like the length of the cuff. I like that they are fitted because they're ribbed, and they were a super fast, fun, and easy knit. I did them 2 at a time, so they went super quick, and yeah, I really like them. And I wear them when I go on walks with my daughter. So yeah, that's the last finished object I have for myself this year. So that is all of my knitting for me. Definitely way less than usual, and definitely not the most successful of projects, but that's okay. I think because usually I knit more for myself, there are more there are more wins, I guess. But still, I really like all the pieces that I made. Some of them just maybe need a little bit of fixing or just a little bit more love. So yeah, that is it for the patterns that I made for me. Now we will move on to the baby knits, which there are many. And when I was reflecting on this is a lot, on what I knit for myself, or what I knit this year, I didn't feel like I had knit a lot, but this is a lot of knitting. And like, one fingering weight baby sweater has a similar stitch count in the body to, like, this basically has the same body stitch count as like my sweater number, as my cloud sweater or my V-neck sweater. Like, that's the importance of gauge. Like, these stitch counts in these 2 sweaters, not too dissimilar, but the gauge makes all the difference. So I actually did knit a lot of sweaters this year. They're just really teeny tiny. Okay, so we'll go in chronological order on these as well. The first little set that I knit this year was these 2. So these are the Smarty Pants, which is a free pattern from Purl Soho. I knit them in the 0 to 3 month size, and I used Sendasgarn Sisu, which is their sock yarn. Now, I think when I first knit these, I originally said I did not like them because I felt like the yarn was crunchy, which I will stand by. However, I washed them in the washing machine after they were worn a few times, and the yarn did not feel crunchy anymore. It feels soft and smooth now. So I wonder if this yarn just is not, it's not great to be hand washed. It like actually needs to be washed in the washing machine to feel nice. Like, it doesn't feel crunchy anymore. It has a lot more movement in it. I'm curious on it, honestly, that if I like hand wash these now, if because they've gone through the washing machine once, that's kind of softened the yarn up. But I don't know. But anyway, these were really cute. I don't feel like she wore them a ton. Maybe she did. But I liked, and I do plan to do, if people are interested, a video of like everything that, all of the knitwear that my daughter had in her first year, and like what I used and what I didn't, what I wish I had more of and stuff like that, if that's something people are interested in. I feel like she wore these a lot. I did really like putting her in knit pants, especially, she was born in late winter, early spring, end of February. And we live in a pretty mild climate, but I just felt like a lot of the time, because we were indoors, she was wearing like a short sleeve t-shirt, and then I would put woolly pants on her. So I think I really liked these. I would do more of them again. I like the pattern. I've only knit petite knit baby pants, or these baby pants. The petite knit ones are shaped with short rows. This is shaped with increases in the back. I don't really have a preference of one over the other. I do think they're really cute. I think they're great for a free pattern. They're a good gift if you're interested in looking for baby gift knits. So that's that. I think I did modify these to have 2x2 ribbing on the bottoms, just because I think 2x2 ribbing is a little bit neater. So yes, that's my Smarty Pants. And then I made a coordinating sweater, which this looks like the Seaside Sweater by Petite Knit, but I actually used the pattern for the Ellen's Coming Home set, which I also made. I made that last year, which is a sweater with has buttons all the way down the front, and it's made of DK weight yarn, but I wanted to use fingering weight for this. And so I used I think I knit the largest size of Ellen's, but with fingering weight yarn. And then I just kind of stopped the placket after 3 buttons, knit the plackets, the 2 like sides of the placket together, and then continued in stockinette for the body. This is also, so I knit the largest size in the Ellen's, but this ended up with the measurements of the 0 to 3 month size. And I think that's a really sweet little set. I will say I didn't put her in this that often because she was really spitty uppy when she was little, and I didn't want to have to wash it a lot, but you actually can't tell because the white yarn in this is a non-superwash. Even though the yellow is a superwash, it's the same yarn. But it was fine. And it looks brand new, even though she wore it a few times and did spit up on it. I just hand washed it and it was fine. So, yeah, that's the first little set I knit. I think it's very darling. and I have a couple pictures of her wearing it, and she's very cute. So that was the first thing. And then the next thing that I knit for her was this little sweater. This is the Holger sweater, Holger Baby Set by Petite Knit, which is meant to have like really cool, beautiful stripes on it, but this is just a plain fingering weight sweater. It was one of the only fingering weight drop shoulder baby sweaters that I could find that I liked the style of, that was just like plain. So that's why I got that sweater. And I just do think it's a really nice versatile pattern, and I've used it again, and I will probably continue to make it. I knit this sweater when Caroline was really, really little because I wanted to have a sweater that I could take a picture of her in every month. So this is the 1 to 2 year size of the Holger baby sweater. But she's been wearing it since she was little. So I've been taking her picture in it every month. It's very cute. I made this in Sennis Garn Sunday, which is a non-superwash merino, and it does pill. I mean, this has been worn by a baby, so it's not like she's doing super aggressive friction-y rubbing, but there is some pilling on the arms and on the body. I have a lot of thoughts now that I've had a baby that wears knitwear about what yarns are appropriate for babies at what age, especially. I think, yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. I'll save that for a different video, but I have thoughts and feelings. But overall, I think this has held up pretty well. I haven't depilled this at all, so it could just use a little shave, and I think it would be good. I'm hopeful that this will continue to fit her until she's at least 2, so the rest of this winter and then into next winter. She turns 1 in February. I did do a contrasting color on the inside of the collar because I was worried about having enough yarn for this. I do plan to knit the matching pants in the same yarn. But I have 1 ball of this left, so I bought more of it in a different dye lot, and I'll just use that for the pants. And if they don't match perfectly, I think it's fine. But yes, I also think I knit the body on this a little bit shorter than it's meant to be. I knit it longer on the second version that I made that I'll talk about in a minute. Well, actually, I guess I could talk about this now. I knit this much more recently. Let me put it on a hanger so you can kind of see. I'll hold them up next to each other. This is the same sweater in the same size. Also knit this, but this is knit in a superwash merino, 100% superwash merino. And I actually feel like the superwash one has pilled more than the non-superwash. Yeah, as you can see, the orange one, the body, well, you can't actually see. Hold on, just a minute here. Let me show you. The orange one, okay, you actually can't see, so maybe it's not. I thought that I knit the body slightly longer on the orange one. Maybe I did. Can you see? It's a little bit longer. But basically, maybe not. These are like basically identical. And I really like them. The only thing I did differently on this one is that I didn't do the double folded collar. I have a baby with a big head, and this is sometimes kind of tight to get over her head because it has a little bit of double knitting to help the collar fold properly. It also could just be that it's sewn down that makes it tight, but it is a little bit hard to get over her head sometimes. So for the second one, I just did a single collar and did Italian bind off, and this is much stretchier and easier to get over her head. So, yeah, besides that, this one has definitely pilled a little bit more. I think I've honestly had her wear this out and about more, and it needs to be washed because it has applesauce on the front end. But I'm really pleased with it. I like it a lot, and I think I'll probably knit her more of these. I really like them. They're just like, the shape is good. I will say the sleeves are a little bit wide and maybe a little bit long, so take that with a grain of salt. But these are my Holger sweaters. They're really cute. They're really simple. Yeah, these are my Holger sweaters. This one I knit in March, and this one I knit in October. So yeah, cute. Okay, back to chronological. I knit this one next. This was a test knit for Nash Knits. It's the Cassandra Baby Vest, which is really cute, but I think I was a naughty test knitter and my gauge isn't quite right. So this was supposed to be the 6 to 12 month size, and it's really, really big. Like, do you see how long? This is a 1-year-old sweater. The vest is even longer. So I think this isn't going to fit. And I knit the length properly, so it's a little long. But I think this will be better when she's like 2, honestly, which is fine. It'll be good. I knit this in the leftovers from my Miles shirt jacket. So it's 2 strands of Manchalopes and 1 strand of mohair, which also could be part of the problem. I probably should have just done 1 strand of the Manchalopes to make the fabric a little drapier because it's fairly stiff. But I still think it's really cute, and I think it will be nice when she's a little bit bigger. It has the similar details to the cloud sweater with the knitting, the few rounds of regular knitting and then rolled stockinette, and then it's just rolled stockinette on the sides with some I-cords. I think the ties could be a little longer. Also, I might go back and redo those, maybe not. And then it has these cute little scallops on the bottom. So I think this will be better when she's a little bit bigger and she fits it a little better, but I do like it. And there's an adult version to match if you wanted to make a matchy-matchy. So yes, that was my next one. It's cute. It's fine. She hasn't worn it much because she's too small. This is the next thing I knit for Miss Caroline. This is the Little Brothers Romper from Petite Knit. I knit this because I had leftover from my camisole and I wanted to have something that Caroline could wear to flock to match me. So I made this. I will say I don't think this is very practical, at least in this size. I think this would be a good pattern for like a really little baby. So like the newborn size or the 0 to 3 month size, I think would be fine. I think this is better for a baby that doesn't move around as much. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not obsessed with it for a baby that moves around. I think it's really cute in the way that it's styled in the photos with like some tights and a shirt underneath it. But I knit this in a cotton yarn to be like a summery piece. And I just felt like it didn't cover her diaper enough. And it was like kind of low in the front. I don't know. This is just not my favorite thing that I've ever made. So it was quick and easy. I don't regret making it, but I wouldn't make it again. So yes, that's really all I have to say about that. Okay, next is this is the caramel cardigan, which is a free pattern from the yarn company Freya. This is in I want to say the 18-month size, but it does fit her pretty well now. It's in broken rib and it's quite stretchy. Like there's a lot of give in here, so her chunky arms fit in there quite well. But because it's pretty long, I think this will last hopefully into next winter. I did not love making this. I don't love broken rib. I don't think I would do it again. And I used 100% alpaca yarn, which I feel like kind of obscures the texture. So that wasn't my best move. I used Hobby soft alpaca and in the color Sage, and it was fine. But I think it's a little bit too fluffy for the texture. The only other thing is that this is a color I find quite difficult to match. Like I don't know. I feel like she's often wearing like a plain t-shirt and then like a brighter colored bottom. I think I would get more use out of this if it was in a neutral color. I have to like intentionally plan an outfit around her wearing this, which I don't feel like is the most practical for a baby. I like usually just put her in something. I'm like, oh, she needs another layer. Let me throw a cardigan on her. But this doesn't usually match. So that's the one thing I wish I had done differently, is maybe make this in a more neutral color. But I do like it. I think it's cute. I like actually how many buttons there are. I think it's really cute. And overall, like it's cute. It's just maybe not it wasn't my best color choice. There's nothing wrong with the color, and it actually she has really blue eyes. It brings out the color of her eyes, but she hasn't worn it that much. So I need to be better about planning outfits that she can wear with this. Okay, next up, we've got the Badger sweater by Ann Bensel. I used the leftover yarn from my sweater number 14 V-neck for the brown, and then this white is the same yarn. I had originally bought that yarn for a different pattern and then didn't end up making that. So I had a whole skein of the white and then the brown that I used for the sweater. And this is the 2-year-old size of this pattern. It is probably well sized for a 2-year-old. She can wear it now, but I have to roll up the sleeves and that kind of obscures the color work. So she's only worn this a couple of times, and that's fine. I'm not like in a rush for her to wear this. I made this because I had the yarn and because I have the adult version of this sweater, and so we can coordinate. Mine is like a light gray and a black, so it's not matching, but it's coordinating. And I do think it's really cute. It was very, very fast to knit. I knit this in like a week or two because the yoke is really fun, easy color work, and then it's a big gauge and there's not that much body or sleeve, so it goes super, super quick. So I really enjoyed this. Honestly, I would probably make it again. And it used less than 1 skein of each of the colors, so it doesn't use very much yarn at all. So if you have leftover Aran weight yarn, this is a really fun one to do. I knit this as a little knit along with Inga from Knitting Traditions, and she used a bunch of different colors in the yoke, and it's really fun. So it would be great for leftovers. But yeah, I don't have a ton to say about this because she hasn't worn it that much. I will say I did the Italian cast on, which the pattern calls for, and then it makes the collar, again, we have a little bit, there's like no give in this collar, so it's kind of hard to get over her big fat head. So Inga was smart and we cast this on together over FaceTime, and she didn't do the Italian cast on, and I kind of wish I hadn't because it's a little bit hard to get over her head. It works, but she doesn't like it. But yes, anyway, that's my Badger sweater. It's very darling, and I'm excited for her to wear this more as she gets a little bit older. There are just some, I find that there's like this weird age between when they start moving and then when they start walking where it can be kind of hard to dress them because they're rolling around and crawling a lot, which just puts a lot of friction on the garments and wears them out a lot faster. So I haven't put her in a lot of knitwear in a while just because I don't want it to get gross. And I'm sure it will be gross when she's running around and like getting into stuff, but there's just a different, like there's not going to be as much friction on the elbows or the stomach because my baby army crawls. There's like a lot of friction on the front of her sweaters and stuff. So I haven't been putting her in these things because I don't want them to get ruined just because of the way that she's moving through the world. Okay, the last garment I have is probably my favorite. This is the mini honey vest by Wool and Beyond. It is so cute. It's so cute. This is like a very, very recently finished project, so she's only worn it like around the house, but I think I'm going to put her in it quite a lot. This is a bright color and not something that matches with maybe many of the outfits I would think to put her in, but I love it so much that I am very willing to plan an outfit around her wearing this. Like, it's so cute. The main color is my handspun yarn. It's like, it ended up being like kind of like a worsted Aran weight 3-ply. And then the contrast is Retrosaria Rosa Pomar Mondim. I think the color is 204. It's one of the 200 colors, the speckly ones. It's got like a rosy or like a raspberry colors, greens and purples in it. It's gorgeous. I talked about this quite a lot in my most recent YouTube video. The sizing on this is a little bit difficult, was a little bit difficult for me because my gauge was off. So I ended up doing the stitch counts for the largest size, and I think I ended up somewhere between the 1 to 2 and the 3 to 4 year size. But that just means she can wear it for longer, and I think it's so cute and like the perfect little girl vest. So I really like this. In 2025, I want to knit the coordinating version for me. Obviously not in these colors because I don't think I would ever wear that. Well, it could be cute. But I want one so we can coordinate. And this is like maybe one of my favorite things I've ever knit, and probably my favorite thing that I've knit for Caroline. It's so cute and so pretty. And I love the honeycomb brioche. And I love the contrasting colors. It's just so good. Okay, I have a couple accessories, and then I think that's it. So this is the first hat that I knit this hat for Caroline before she was born. This is the newborn size of the Pearl Soho Classic ribbed hat. I held 2 strands of yarn together to get this marl. They were both like wool Angora blends. I don't remember the yarn. I don't think it's anything super special, but it's really cute. I have some cute pictures of her wearing this when she was really little. It does not fit her anymore because, again, she's got a big noggin. But it's really cute and special. And this is unisex enough that someday if I have another child, that another baby could wear this no matter what gender they were. It's really thick and chunky and squishy, and I really like it. I'm sad it doesn't fit her anymore because it's super cute. And then because she grew out of that beanie, I made her another beanie. This is knit in my hand spun, and I also hand dyed this yarn, or hand dyed the fiber. It's really cute and fun. It kind of is very similar colors to this, honestly, like a similar vibe, but a little bit cooler toned. And I wanted to do this top down because I wanted to use up all of my hand spun. So it's got these increases on the top. I think I used a pattern from Drops. It's called the Hot Cocoa Hat to get the stitch counts, or to do the increasing. And then I think I ended up using the stitch counts for the classic ribbed hat by Pearl Soho in the adult small size because the gauge is a little bit different, and also because my baby has a large head. So yes, this is the hat that fits her now, and I think it will fit her for a while. It's pretty stretchy and very cute, although she doesn't really like to wear hats, so she pulls it off a lot. So I knit this first, and then she didn't like to wear hats. So then I knit this. This is the November Balaclava by Petite Knit. I made the largest size, which is like 2 to 7 years. So it's a little bit big for her, but she can wear it for years and years now. The main color is John Arbon Knit by Numbers in the color 60, I believe. It's beautiful, super, super soft, 100% merino. that I knit some other clothes for her in last year for her the outfit that I brought her home from the hospital in is knit in this yarn. And then I had a fair amount of it left over. So I decided, and I'm like talking too fast. I held it with a strand of mohair, which is the African's Expressions Hope, which is actually the same mohair that I used in this sweater. But this is held with a strand of Cascade 220. So that's the November balaclava. And I didn't do the mohair around the face because I didn't want it to get in her nose or mouth or anything, which you can't super tell unless you're looking closely. So yes, it's super, super squishy and soft and cozy, but she also pulls this off. I knit a balaclava because I didn't want her to be able to pull it off, and she like turns it around. And so it's like backwards on her head and then she gets mad. So she sometimes wears this. If she forgets that she's wearing it, it's fine. But if she remembers, she pulls it off. So that's the November balaclava. Hopefully someday she'll get over her hatred of hats and be fine to wear that. But yes, that's that. And then the last head accessory. The last thing I have is in the stroller in the car. So I will just put a picture of it here, or like some B-roll, but it's the Ralphie bonnet by Golden Knit Shop. It was a test knit that I did in November. And it was super quick and fun. It's just a super easy garter stitch beanie or bonnet. The pattern is actually originally made to be knit in stripes, but when I was looking through my stash to see what I could use, I found this ball of red yarn and thought it would be super, super cute for her to have like a little red gnome bonnet. And it is super, super cute. And I really like it. This actually she wears best of all of the headpieces that I've worn. I think it's because it's not scratchy at all. I think it's 100% merino. And so there's like no prickle factor, and she usually forgets that she's wearing it. If she remembers, she will pull it off, but she likes this. I think she hates this the least of all of the hats that I've made her. So it's really cute. She looks very funny in it, and I like it a lot. So yeah. One more thing for Caroline that I want to mention. This is the little blanket that I made for her. This is the Stella quilt blanket. Well, when I made it, I used the Stella quilt cushion pattern, but there is now a blanket pattern. And this is it. I made this using the Stella quilt cushion pattern, but I halved the stitch counts for the Aran weight size because I wanted smaller motifs, because I wanted to do more of them, and I wanted to do this contrasting pattern. The green is Filatura di Croce Zara, which I over dyed to get kind of more of a darky greeny blue color, and the white is Regia hand-dyed or Regia sock yarn held double. I have 9 blocks here, and this is as far as I got before the baby was born, and I haven't added anything to it since. I have a couple thoughts about this blanket. First of all, I think it's beautiful. I'm a little sad about it. So if you can look up closely, you probably can't tell. Well, you can tell that I washed this in the washing machine because all these yarns are superwash, and the white bled. Despite the fact that I blocked every single one of these squares before sewing them together with vinegar in the water to keep them from bleeding, the yarn still bled and like colored the white yarn, like tinted it green, which I'm really upset about, because this was a lot of work. Like every single one of these squares is knit individually and they're modularly knit together, and there are a million ends, some of which have kind of unwoven and need to be rewoven back in. Like I'm really proud of this. And so when it came out of the wash like that, I was so upset, and I'm still upset about it. The other thing is that this is kind of pilly. We've been using it we used it as a play mat for a really long time because it's kind of small for a blanket and it's a little bit heavy. That's the other thing, is that the single DK weight superwash has a really good drape to it, but the sock yarn held double is thicker than the white yarn is thicker held double than the dark yarn. And so it's kind of got an odd weight to it. It doesn't quite flow the way I want it to. So that's also upsetting. And then some of my ends came unwoven, and it hasn't honestly been used as a blanket at all because it's kind of thick. So it's getting used as a play mat. It needs to be washed again because it has dried spit up on it. And honestly, this just hasn't been used as much as I wanted it to, which makes me really sad because it is gorgeous. Like, it's beautiful and I love it. And I worked really hard on it for a really long time. Like, I didn't make a lot more clothes for Caroline when I was pregnant because I was working on this for like 3 months. And each of these squares they're small, but they take like 30 minutes. So it was a lot of knitting. and it is beautiful, and I need to just not be scared of, I need to give it to her again. We haven't used this in a while, and so I think I just need to give it another wash and weave some of the ends back in and just let it be, because it's beautiful. And I originally had plans to add, that's another reason why I'm upset, is that I had plans to add more onto this, but to make it bigger as she grew. But because the yarn's bled, like I don't want to add squares and then have them be white but then not bleed. Like I'm just frustrated. So I'm not sure what to do with this. I need to just clean it up as it is, like weave some more ends in and give it another wash and a refresh, and just let it lie as it is. I have yarn to make more. I could probably make another one, like an entire another one this size, which I can do. I don't know. I love it. It's so beautiful. Like this is really a beautiful work of art. And it's a decent size. That's a good baby size blanket, but there's just a few things about it that make me a little sad. So yeah, that's all. I'm gonna go wash it and give it some love because it deserves it. Okay, I talked really fast about a lot of things, but that is everything that I made in 2024. It's a fair amount. Like this is still a lot of stuff. All of this knitting and all of this knitting on top of having a baby and doing a lot of spinning this year. I actually do feel quite accomplished in what I was able to achieve. So yes, I think if I had to pick favorites, I think my favorite thing I made for Caroline is the vest, and the favorite thing I made for myself is my cloud sweater. And yeah, lots of things that I'm really proud of, lots of things that overall, like I really like everything that I made. A couple things that need some help, some fixes, but overall like a really good year of knitting. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I'd love to hear what like your all-star favorites were that you made this year. And with that, that's really all I have to say. So thanks again so much for watching. Come back in a few more weeks to see what I worked on in January. Thank you all so much for watching, so much for your kindness and support in 2024. I know I had previously been posting 2 videos a month, and then with the baby went down to 1 video a month. I would love to post 2 videos more often, so that's a goal for 2025, is to post a little bit more content. So if that's something you're interested in, subscribe if you haven't already. Stick around and you should hopefully see more of my face on your feed this year. And with that, I will send you on your way. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you soon.